Blessings, everyone. Today is March 5th, 4th. Time is flying quite quickly for all this. I'm going to do a short chanting. Hopefully have enough time for Dhamma. I don't think I'll be able to speak in Laos and translate it, so it will be primarily English. But the good thing is that I do write down most of the times what I want to say. So if you want it in Laos, I'll do my best to do a Lao version of it. So for the subscribers, feel free to comment and share. So before I start my chanting, so evening Dhamma friends from the United States, Canada, from Bangladesh, Myanmar, Thailand, Laos, India, Sri Lanka, Europe, and Africa, and South America. May all friends in Australia, may all friends there have a blessed day and enjoy this evening chanting and Dhamma lesson with some guided meditation. So let's start. Sammanta cakkavāresu atra gaccantu devata Tatamang muniratsatsa sunantu sakamokatang Sankekame charupe kirisikarattate Jantatike vimane Tiperete chakame taruvanakahane Kehawatumikete Pomma Jayantu Teva Taratara Visame Yakakanta Patnaka Titanta Sandikayang Uniwara Vachanang Satu Me Sunantu Dhamma Savanakaro Ayam Datanta Dhamma Savanakaro Ayam Datanta Dhamma Savanakaro Ayam Datanta Yoso Bhagava Arahang Sama Sambuddho Sawakato Yena Bhagavata Dhammo Subhidipano Yasa Bhagavato Savaka Sangho Dhammayang Bhagavantang Sadamang Sasanghang Imehi Sakare Yatarahang Aropitehi Abhipusayami Satumo Pante Bhagava Suchira Pariniputopi Patsima Sanatanukampa Manasa Ime Sakare Tukatapana Karapute Patikanhatu Hamha Kang Tikaratang Hitaya Sukhaya Arahang Samma Sambuddho Bhagava Utang Bhagavantang Apivatemi Sawakato Bhagavata Dhammo Dhammang Namasami Supadipanno Bhagavato Savaka Sangho Sanghang Namami Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sama sambuddhassa Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sama sambuddhassa Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sama sambuddhassa Angopana bhagavatang evang karayano kitisato apugato Iti piso bhagava arahang sama sambuddho Pitsa charana sampanno sugato lokyo itu Manutaro purisatam matsanati satate vamanu Sadang puto bhagavati Puttavārahanta varata tikuna piyuto Pote siyo susanatang kamarang vasuro วันธามหังธรรมรนังศิรัสสะสิเนทังพุทโธโยสาปะปานินังสารนังเขมมุตตมังปาตมานุสติจารังวันธามิตังสิเรนะหังพุทธาสหัสสามิทาโสวาพุทโธเมสามิกิสทุกัสสะกะทาทาจาวิทาตาจาอิทัสสะเมพุทธาสหังนิยาเทมิสารินันสิวิตันจิตังปะหะปริสามิพุทธัสเสวะสุโพธิทังนาทิเมสารนังอัญญังพุทโธเมสารนังวารังเอเทนะสาจวาเสนะวาทายังสาธุสาสะเนพุทธังเมวันธามะเนนะยังบุญยังพระสุทังอิทาสาเปปิอันตรายาเมมาเหสุงทัสสะเตสัสสะกายเยนะวาจายวาเจตัสสะวาพุทเตกุกมังปะกะตังมะยะยังพุทโธปฏิคันหาตุอาจายันตังการันตะเรสังวริตุงวะพุทเทสวากขาโตภะคะวะตาธัมโมสันทิติโกอาการิโกเอหิปัสสิโกโอปนายิโกปัจจาทังเวทิทาโพวินยูหิติสวากขาตตาทิกุณโยกวะเสนะสยโยโยมาคาภะคะภาริยาทิวิโมคะเพโทธัมโมคุโรคพัฒนาตถาริธาริวันธามหังธรรมหรังวรธรรมะเมทังธัมโมโยสาภาภานินังสารนังเกมะมุตตมังทุติยานุสติฐานังวันธามิตังสิเรนะหังธรรมะสหัสสามิทาโสวาธัมโมเมสามิกิสโรธัมโมทุกัสสะกะทาตาจาวิทาทาจาอิตาสะเมธัมมัสสะหังนิยาเทมิสารินันสิวิตันจิตังวันทันโตหังจาริสามิธัมมัสเสวสุธรรมทังนัตถิเมสารนังอัญญังธัมโมเมสารนังวารังอิเทนัสสะจะวาเสนะวาทายังสาธุสาสะเนธัมมังเมวันธามะเนนะยังบุญยังพระสุทังอิทาสัพเพพิอันตรายาเมมาเหสุงตัสสะเตสัสสะกายเยนะวาจายวาเจตัสสะวาธัมเมกุกมังปะกะตังมะยะยังธัมโมปฏิคันหาตุอาจายันตังการันตะเรสังวาริทุงวัฏเมสุปฏิปันโนภะคะวะโตสาวกสังโฆอุสุปฏิปันโนภะคะวะโตสาวกสังโฆยายาปฏิปันโนภะคะวะโตสาวกสังโฆสามิจิปฏิปันโนภะคะวะโตสาวกสังโฆยะติตังจัตตาริปุริสายุคานิอัตถปุริสาปุการาเอสาภะคะวะโตสาวกสังโฆอาหุนายโยภาหุนายโยทาคินายโยอันสริการานิโยอนุตตรังวุญญาเขตังโลกัสสาติสัทธามโสสุปฏิภาทิกุณาภิยุโทสุทาพิญญาณคารุณาหิสัมมาคาตโทโพเทสิโยสุสนตังกมรังวสิโตวันธามหังธรรมาริยานาคาดังสุสุทังสังโฆโยสาภภานินังสารนังเกมะมุตตมังทาติยานุสติทานังวันธามิตังสิเรนะหังสังฆัสสะหัสสามิทาโสวาสังโฆเมสามิกิสโรสังโฆทุกัสสะคทาตาจาวิทาตาจาอิทัสสะเมสังฆัสสะหังนิยาเทมิสารินันสิวิตันจิตังวันดันโตหันจาริสามิสังฆาโสปฏิปานทังนาทีเมสารนังอัญญังสังโฆเมสารนังวารัง เหเตนะสาจวาเสนะวาทายังสาธุสาสเนสังฆังเมวันธามะเนนะยังบุญยังวสุทังอิทาสัพเพปิอันตรายาเมมาเหสุงตัสสเตสัสสะยาเยนะวะจายาวะเจทัสสะวามสังเกกุกะมังภะกะตัมมะยังสังโฆปฏิคันหาตุอาจายันตังการันตะเรสังวริทุงวัดสังเฆ Now on to the reflections. Atsamaya pacawe kita wayang jivarang pariputang tang yawa teva sitasa padikataya unasa padikataya tang samakasa wata tapat siring sampasapasanang padikataya yawa teva hidiko pina patisatanatang Atsamaya apacawe kita wayo binnabato pariputso so nevatavaya na mataya na mantanaya na pipusanaya yawateva imasakaya satitiya yipanaya vihing soparatiya brahmacharya nakahaya iti purananja vetanang patihang kami navancha vetanang na upatesami Yatra cha me pavisati anavasata cha pasu viharo jati Atsamaya apacawe kita wayang sena sanang badiputang tang jawa teva sitasa badikataya Unasa badikataya tang samakasa wata tapat siring sapasampasa anang badikataya Yawa Deva Utu Parisaya Bino Tanang Tisara Nara Matang Atsamaya Apacawe Kita Waya Yokirana Pachaya Heshasha Pari Karo Pariboto So Yawa Deva Upananang Vaya Patika Nang Vetana Nang Vatika Taya Abhaya Patsa Paramata Yati And let's do the 5 frequent reflections. Saratamo mi saranang anatito. Payati tamo mi payating anatito. Maranatamo mi maranang anatito. Sapehi me piyehi manapehi nana pavo hina pavo. Kama sakomi kama tayato kama yoni kama pantu kama pati sarano yangamang kari samikara yanang wabapakang watasatayato pavisami evam amihang api ng pacha wekita pang. Let's do a quick chanting of one of the suttas. I'm going pretty quickly because I'm not translating. So I think that'll be good to do a sutta. I'm going to do the fire discourse. Those that have the book, chanting along. We are on page 25. The fire discourse, 24-25. The Āditta-pariyāya. Okay. Evam me sutang ekang samayang bhagava kaya yang viharati kaya sise sating pika piku sahasena tatarako bhagava piku amantesi sapang pikave aditang kinca pikave sapang aditang Jakung pikave aditang, rupang adita, jaku vinyanang aditang, jaku sampaso adito. Yampitan jaku sampasa pacayu upasati veti tang sukang watu kang wa adukam asukang wa, tampi aditang, kena aditang. Aditang raka kena tosa kena moha kena aditang satya saramanena. Sokehi pare tevehi tukehi tomana sehi upaya sehi atitanti vatami. Sotang aditang, sota adita, sota vinyanang aditang, sota sampaso adito. Yampitang sota sampasa pacaya upasati vitiyitang sukang watu kang wa arukam asukang wa. Tampi aditang, kena aditang, Atitang rakkakena tosakena mohakena atitang satya saramanena sokehi paritevehi tukkehi tomana sehi upaya sehi atitanti vatami kanang aditang santa adita kana kanda vinyanang aditam kana sampaso adito Yambe kana sampasa pacaya upasati veti yitang sukang wa tukang wa adukam asukang wa tampi aditang kena aditang aditang rakake na tosake na mohake na aditang satiya saramanena sokehi paritevehi tukkehi tomana sehi upaya sehi aditanti vatami sifa atita rasa atita siva vinyanang aditang siva sampasu adito Yampitang siva sampasa pacaya upasati veti yutang sukang wa tukang wa arukam asukang wa rambi aditang kena aditang aditang rakake na tosake na mohake na aditang satiya saramanena sokehi paritevehi tukkehi tomana sehi upaya sehi aditanti vatami kayo adito potapa aditam kaya vinyanang aditang kaya sampaso adito yampitang kaya sampasa pacaya upasati tiyitang sukang wa tukang wa arukam asukang wa yampi aditang kena aditang Aditang rakake na tosake na mohake na aditang satiya sanamanena sokehi paritevehi tukkehi tomana sehi upaya sehi atanti tamim mano atito Dhamma adita mano vinyanang aditang mano sampaso adito yampitang mano sampasa pacaya upasati veti yitang sukang wa tukang wa adukam asukang wa yampi aditang Kena aditang rakake na tosake na mohake na aditang satiya saramanena sokehi paritevehi tukkehi tomana sehi upayesi aditanti vatami Evam pasampi kavai sutta wa ariya savako chakku kasaming pini bindati rupe se pini bindati chakku vinyane pini bindati chakku sampase pini bindati yampaidang chakku sampasa pacaya upasati viti yitang sukang wa tukang wa arukam asukang wa tasaming pini bindati so tasaming pini bindati sate su pini bindati so ta vinyane pini bindati so ta sampase pini bindati yampitang sutta sampasa pacaya upasati veti yitang sukang wa tukang wa arukam asukang wa tasaming pini bindati kana saming pini bindati kante su pini bindati kana vinyane pini bindati kana sampasa pini bindati yampitang kana sampasa pacaya upasati veti yitang sukang wa tukang wa arukam asukang wa tasaming pini bindati sifaya pini bindati Raise supini bindati sivaya vinyane pini bindati siva sampase pini bindati yampitang siva sampasa pacaya upasati viti yitang sukang wa tukang wa arukam asukang wa tasming pini bindati Kaya saming pini bindati potape supini bindati kaya vinyane pini bindati kaya sampase pini bindati yampitang kaya sampasa pacaya upasati viti yitang sukang wa tukang wa arukam asukang wa tasming pini bindati Manasaming pini bindati tame supini bindati mano vinyane pini bindati mano sampase pini bindati yampitang mano sampasa pacaya upasati viti yitang sukang wa tukang wa arukam asukang wa tasming pini bindati Nipintang vidatsati viraka vimuttati Utasaming vimutam iti yanang hoti Kina sati vusitang hammacariyam katang karaniyang na parang itatayati pasanati tim hitamavocha pakawa atamanate piku pakawato pasitang apinantung Imasamin japana vaya karasaming panyamanne tassa piku sahasa sa anupathaya asawehi cittani vimu jingsuti. Now on to the Maṅgala Sutta Paritta. on page 31. Evaṁ me sutaṁ ekhaṁ samayang bhagava sawatiyang viharati setavane ananda pindikasa arame atako anyata rata tevata abhikantaya rattiya abhikantavana kevarakapang Setavanang opa setawa yena phakawa tenupa sangkamni upa sangkamittawa phakawantang apitet watevata ekamantang athasi ekamatang Tita kosa tevata phakawantang kathaya asavasi Bahuteva manusaca mangkarani acintayung angkang kamana sotanang pruhi mangkara mutamang asevana ca paranang pantitana ca sevana pusha ca pusha niyanang etang mangkara mutamang pati rupa desa vaso ca pupe ca kata punyatam atasama pantiti ca Edam mangkara mutamang pahusa canca si panca vinayo ca susihitom subasita caya wajam etam mangkara mutamang mata pitu upatanang putatara sasangkahom anakura cagamantam etam mangkara mutamang Tananca Tammacariyaca Yatakanaca Saṅghahom Anabhacani Kamani Etam Mangara Mutamang Arati Virati Papa Matsapana Sanyamom Apa Mato Chathamesu Etam Mangara Mutamang Paravo Chanivato Santuti Katanyuta Sarena Dhamma Savanang Etam Mangara Mutamang Santi Cha Suvacha Satta Samanana Chachasanang Karena Dhamma Sagacha Etam Mangara Mutamang Tabo cha brahmacariyan cha ariya satchana tassanang nibbana sachikiriya cha etam mangara mutamang Buddhasa loka tamehi chittang yasana kampati asokang virasang kemang etam mangara mutamang etati sani katawana Saparatama aparasitam sapata soting kasanti bante sang mangkara mutamanti. And let's see. I think I'm gonna do. Since we have some people here, probably let's do another quick Paritta. Abhaya Paritta. This is a protection from disease, suffering, and fear. That's on page 36. Sakadawa buddharatanang osadang utamang varang Itang teva manusanang buddhate sena sutana nasantubatawa sape tuka vubasamendo te Sakadawa tammaratanang osadang utamang varang Parirahu pasamanang Dhammate sena sutana nasantubatawa sape paya vubasamendo te Sagadava Saṅgha Ratanang Osatang Utamang Varang Ahunayang Bahunayang Sankate Sena Sutana Nasantu Vadava Saperoka Vupasamentu Te. And on page 37, I'm going to do the ushering the Devas back home along with the universal blessing. Toka pata chani toka paya pata chani paya soka pata chani soka hontu sape pipani no eta wata cha amnehi sampatam punya sampatang sape tevanobotantu sapa sampati sitiyam tarang tarantu sataya silang lakantu sapatam pavana pirata hontu Chantu Devadakkata Sape Puta Parapata Pacekanancha Yang Parang Arhantanancha Tesana Rakang Patami Sapatso Sapa Puta Nupavena Sapa Tamma Nupavena Sapa Saṅgha Nupavena Puta Rattanang Tamma Rattanang Saṅgha Rattanang Tidang Rattanang Nanupavena Chaturasiti Sahasata Tamma Kanta Nupavena Pitakattaya Nupavena Sina Savaka Nupavena Sapete Roka Sapete Paya Sapete Antaraya Sapete Upatawa Sapete Tunimita Sapete Avamankara Vinasantu Ayu Watako Tana Watako Siri Watako Yasa Watako Para Watako Wana Watako Suka Watako Hotu Sabata Soka roka paya vera soka satu cupatawa aneka antaraya pipina santu Jatesha saya siti tanang lapang sotipaka yang supang parang siri ayu jawano japokang guti jaya sawa sata wasaja ayu jak siva siti pawandu te Avantu sapa mangkarang rakantu sapa devata sapa putta anupavena sada sute bhavantu tem bhavantu sapa mangkarang rakantu sapa devata sapa dhamma anupavena sada sute bhavantu te bhavantu sapa mangkarang rakantu sapa devata sapa saṅghanu Bhavena sata soti bhavantu te. And let us dedicate our merit to all beings. This is on page 40, the top. Ya Devata Santi Vihara Vasani Tope Kare Pote Kare Tahing Tahing Gāthā na Bhavantu Pusita Soten Karonte Tat Vihara Mandare Tera Chat Masa Navata Chapikavo Sara Meka Tanapati Upasaka Gama Chate Senikama Chat Isala Sapana Puta Suhida Bhavantu De Sala Pusa Yepicha Anta Sampava Sangseta Sata Atava Vopatika Niyanikang Tamavarang Patichate Sape Pituka Sakaron tu Saṅghayang Tatu Tirang Satang Tamo Tamatara Jabugara Sangkohutu Tamakova Mataya Hitaya Amhe Rakatu Sata Mosa Pepi Kamacharino Uteng Sapana Yamatame Pariyapavitete Nagasata Japumata Devana Mahite Kapunyantang Anmutanto Tirang Rakantu Uta Satsa Nang ending the chanting. Okatsa tawarata yena katang sapang aparatang kamata me pante wanta mi pante cetiyang sapang sapata tane supatititang sadit nikanta tumai hapoteng putarupang sakaratang Ahang wantami tatayo, ahang wantami sapaso, icetang ratana tayang, ahang wantami sapata, Buddha busa mahate savanto, Dhamma busa mahapanyo, Saṅgha busa mahapo kabaho, Uttang dhammang sangkang sivitam yava nipanang saranang sami. Parisuto ahang pande parisuto timang Buddho dhammo saṅgho tareto sabe sata sata huntu aveda suka sivino gatang bunyang parang maihang sape paki pawanto te Buddhang saranang gacchami dhammang saranang gacchami Tu Dhammang saranang gacchami, Sanghang saranang gacchami, Dutiyampi Buddhang saranang gacchami, Dutiyampi Dhammang saranang gacchami, Dutiyampi Sanghang saranang gacchami, Tatiyampi Buddhang saranang gacchami, Tatiyampi Dhammang saranang gacchami, Tatiyampi Sanghang saranang gacchami. Evening. That's the next the little miniature Buddha that was just recently painted for one of our devotees. I just kind of had some free time, so I felt like painting. It's very difficult to see. I'll show you in a second. There it is. Okay. It's hard to navigate while so this would be Mukalinda would be the name of the serpent. As are the or the Viru Pakehi or Viru Naga. So it's a big serpent. There was 4 classes of serpents back in the day in Vedic Brahmanism, I guess their cosmology. And in Buddhism, it was recognized, but it really didn't go too much into detail. But they were acknowledged as Nagas, or just this class of serpents or dragons, we call them now. Uh, so, is he still in? Oh, no, I lost him. Okay, here we go. Ah, so it's currently 6 o'clock. Oh, okay. So I don't feel too rushed. So let me give my blessings. Uh, Salutations to Triple Gem and all the teachers, and uh, all the all the senior monks. So Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Buddhang dhammang sanghang mahatera nanang upacaya tarang tamasami. Okay, so let's see if they come into. Let's see if any. I'm just checking to see if any images get cut off. I guess. In case I'm going to be doing a little bit of showing the what is being said. I'll be doing the Dhamma. So let me have a little verse. This is from the Anguttara Nikaya. It's the Sutta, Book of Threes. The Sutta is called Kesamuti Sutta. Kesamuti Sutta. So, etatumhe kalama ma anusavena ma param parayam ma iti karya ma pita kasampathanena ma takha hetu ma naya hetu ma akara Paritta kanena ma titinitsa, ma kanatiya, ma baharu, ataya, ma samano na no garuti. So let's see what you're hearing. So I guess this Dhamma is based on something that I reflected on a while ago before I actually became a monk. I had someone very close to me, um, give me a little warning about, just be careful when you're going out there as a monk, to not be caught up, and make sure that it's not a cult. So I guess the idea is Buddhism a cult? Well, some people may have that perception about Buddhism. So let's try to find out what's going on with that. So the translation of what I just said was the Kesa Muti Sutta comes from. Oh, that's pretty small. Huh? I can't really see. Wonder if I can make it bigger. I wonder if you can see that. Can you see this? I'm trying to make it so you can see it. There we go. Is Buddhism a cult? So the translation is uh, please Kamalas. So this is the group of people called the Kalamas, not Kamala, but Kalamas. And when he addressed these people, they actually did not trust in the Buddhist teachings at first, immediately, and the Buddha, was start giving some Dharma to them, and so that way he could break their sense of who they were, before they and basically asked them to address this to see if they really want to start believing in it. They had like a skeptical doubt, a very big skeptical doubt, but um, he used it for their play, to kind of break it so that way they can actually see the Dhamma. So he basically said, please, please, Kalamas, don't go by oral transmission, don't go by lineage, don't go by testament, don't go by canonical authority, do not go by, do not rely on logic, and do not rely on inference, and do not go by reasoned train of thought. Don't go by acceptance of view after deliberation, and don't go by appearance of competence. Don't go by the thought, the ascetic is our respected teacher. So that's a big mouthful. So it sounds like a lot of don't believe in this, don't believe in that. So this is a lot of people hear this particular Dhamma verse. There's another version of it in the Dhammapada, but this one comes from the Anguttara Nikaya, which I've read. So I'm going by what I've read. I'm not pulling off something else I have not read and put the thought myself. So many people hear this and think, oh, the Buddha saying, don't believe anything. So already the people are already skeptical. So if you tell people not to believe it further, then now what? So I guess this comes to the idea of a cult, and we're gonna have to address this here. Let's first define a cult. So with a cult in the dictionary, the Merriam-Webster dictionary. So a cult is defined as a religion that's very unorthodox. It's completely out there. It's gone off the grain of what's already been established. So it either has followers, or a specific person who started this, completely off of what was already there, and made a following of so, and very religiously. So examples of like a voodoo cult or a satanic cult, which people would say, but it depends on the eyes because we're going by the definition. So first of all, I underlined it. It is considered as unorthodox. It's off the grain of what's traditionally accepted. The second definition of a cult, which could actually put some people say, oh, this is a cult, is that there's a high regard for the person who started it. There's a very big devotional play to them. So it could be a movement, it could be a literary art, But typically it's a concept or an idea that just started from out of nowhere. So basically anything that's been well established and then something comes in is considered a cult. So let's take this into context. Okay, and this is one reasons why people do say or may consider Buddhism to be a cult is that back then it did fall under this definition. It did fall under it. The Vedic Brahmanism was probably at least 500 years before the Buddha came to be. So it was well practiced back then, Vedic Brahmanism. And that was more of like a monotheistic religion back then. And it had a caste system, caste as in upper class, lower class, and middle class, etc. So the caste system, they were born into it and they stayed in it. So the Buddha came and pretty much revolutionized it because back then there was in another sutta, which I'll explain later, there were multiple trains of thoughts back then. Everybody was pretty much practicing it for a long time. There was even something where some people may think of Zoroastrian may have possibly been in India at the time, although it's currently the only place practiced right now is in Iran. But Zoroastrian is a supposedly a fire worshipping religion with basically a monotheistic fire worshipping religion. But I'm just going off of information I've heard from the past, so I can't really say that this is for sure. So the reason why the Buddha's teachings would fall under cult was because his train of thought was so different from what everybody else did. And when he was enlightened, um, he he gave teachings, and when he gave teachings, the first one I said before, I gave a Dhamma talk on his first teaching was actually unsuccessful. It was to a person who was roaming, and they did not believe. He just said, "I'm the Buddha," and they're like, "Okay," and I'm free from suffering. And to this person here, they were unenlightened, so it didn't mean anything. So they weren't ready to hear it. And the Buddha explained to his 5 other ascetic friends that he trained with for 6 years before he became enlightened, and they converted. They were against him at first, hearing his Dhamma, two suttas, and they converted. And then he moved on as he was traveling. He went to the Kassapa brothers. The Kassapa brothers were fire worshipping brothers, and the 3 of them had a total of 1,000 followers, 500, 300, 200. And so it'd be 1,300. Sorry, 1,003. And after some time, he gave the fire discourse. So after some time of converting or displaying some feats for them to see, they're like, wow, this person is more advanced than our own teacher. Of course, the teacher did not want the students to feel that way towards their teacher after the teacher had treated them so well for so long. And he did not want the teacher to be embarrassed in any way. So he made sure if they were going to convert, the oldest brother, Mahakassapa, did want to convert to the Buddha Sasana. And back then in the Buddhist time, if you converted, if your own teachings, if your own sasana could not defeat another person's sasana or the way of thinking, then basically you take your entire crew and then have them all convert. So after the 3rd discourse, which was the one I just chanted, the Āditta-pariyāya, or the fire discourse sutta, that once they heard it, they basically became arahants. So 1,003 arahants and converted to the Buddha's teachings of Buddha Sasana. So immediately the Buddha started gaining traction, like instant. Well, basically, it seemed like just instantly. So people were pretty much had a lot of doubt about the Buddha, and was like, oh, he must be using tricks and all kinds of stuff to gain these people so quickly. And in one of the suttas, the long discourses in the Digha Nikaya, there's the sutta of the Brahma's net, the net of views. It's called Brahmasala Sutta. So the Brahmasala Sutta is a net of views, or the multiple views. There were 62 views on how the world worked, and they ranged from one extreme of eternalism and the other extreme of nihilism. And everything in between was pretty much like an extreme as well, because they had one whole extreme. So they were partial eternalism, indeterminateness, or like everything being skeptical of every single thing, which I believe that's what the lamas were. So I have to double check that. And there's randomness. So this whole thing about like yeah, like everything being just out of yeah, just randomly, kind of like the way they view like how people become people based off of DNA, how it just randomly just chose all these different amino acids and it came together and poof, there we go. After all these random things that happened, life formed. And so there were things like that. Um, and there was a wrong view of what Nibbana, where everybody had an idea what Nibbana was, or they said what it was, but they had a wrong idea what it was. So they said Nibbana was here and now. The sutta is very long, extremely long. It went through each part individually and broke it apart, and Buddha explained each one of those. And that's not really what I'm here for to explain, but I'm just saying that there were so many views, and that if somebody had a certain view and it was defeated by this random new view coming out of nowhere, then the followers would convert, all follow. So, however, the Buddha did not see that as the eternalism, which is this exists, and then nihilism, which is it does not exist. So he's in between. He said I'm the middle path, and the middle path is not that it doesn't exist, or and then does exist, or it exists and then neither exists and none exists. So it's the tetralemma, which I'm gonna do a Dhamma on later on, but we'll get to that on another point. The thing is that there were two extremes, and Buddha said I'm in the middle path. And what is the middle path? It's he talks about it in many different views. A lot of time, much of it is on action. I he's on a view of action, like action results, action resultant. So he explains karma in a different way, or karma in a different way. So let us look at why people think that, or may think that Buddhism is a cult. Because again, random, brand new train of thought, getting many followers, all devoted to this one person right now, falls under the definition of a cult. Okay, and now let's see if the qualities of a cult fall into this. So typically they would have like this, again, one absolute leader. However, the leader is completely cannot be questioned. There's no questioning of this authority figure. So there are many suttas where people actually challenge the Buddha, and after reasoning, they say, "Oh, I see now what you're saying. I want to be a follower now, or I want to convert to, etc., etc." There were a lot of that. So there were people actually challenged it, and even there were suttas of I forgot to grab it, but there was a sutta of one monk who actually had extreme faith in the Buddha. It's also in the Digha Nikaya. I forgot which number it is. It's more towards the end, and he didn't have faith in the Buddha later on, because he was like, you could have easily converted so many people, but you did not. So I'm going to leave you and go back to my old religion. And he never bothered. The Buddha did not bother taking him back. And that former monk was like very taken aback. That was like, why did you do that? And so I think this later on he ended up converting back again. So, but so it does go against that. I mean, typically a cult, you would not be able to challenge the authority, and it would actually make you feel bad for leaving. So again, that sutta, which I forgot to grab and actually have it as a proof of that the sutta exists, that there was a person, a monk that was in it, left on his own accord, with some reasoning, still did not want to stay, but he left on his own accord, but then came back after realizing something else. Um, there's some other things that stick out to a cult is that typically they would take you away from and isolate you from loved ones like family, close family ties and friends. Um, I think one of the reasons why many people think of that, of Buddhism to being a cult, is because to be a Buddhist monk, you you separate. The idea is separation from your loved ones, but you don't really do that. And I'll explain that in a second. So the idea is when you're leaving your family, you renouncing them. You're not denouncing them. You're renouncing. You're renouncing the fact that they're gonna bring you to a higher place, to nibbana, to the end of suffering. So renunciation is very different from denouncing. So um, the person's individuality is not suppressed, because as you're practicing in the Buddha Sasana, you're getting to find yourself. But we'll talk more about that when we do guided meditation. Other things that people may believe um, the Buddha Sasana to be part of a cult is that uh, somebody's here right now. Is it already? Oh, it's already 6:20. I should be done pretty quickly. Um, that the um, there's obeisance or complete following of the person. So everybody, there's people who bow down to the Buddha and they walk around the Buddha in circumambulation with the right side circumambulating. Um, but And yes, there are some suttas where it sounds like the Buddha is very mean to his students, and it would actually kind of almost sound like he's degrading them. But if you look at it, if you really look at it and read it again a couple of times after that, you get to see that there was some compassion towards the person who may have done wrong. So number 9, I was saying there. Okay, so. The Buddha, though, did praise family. So this is one of the things where when people think that when you become a Buddhist monk, you're denouncing your family, and it's not true. The Buddha actually praised family in many times. And so one of the suttas where the Buddha actually praised family and why it's good to have a cohesive family first is from the Itivuttaka book of fours. So basically it says, parents are said to be divinity, the first tutors. They're worthy of offerings dedicated to the gods from their children, for they love their offspring. And it goes on to what the offspring can dedicate to their parents, such as clothing, food, um, shelter, all kinds of other things there. And then it keeps going on there. And Buddha also says that because they look after their parents, meaning the kids look after their parents, they're praised in this life by the wise, and they depart and rejoice in heaven. So the kids end up going to heaven for treating their parents well. So this is one of the things where the Buddha is actually saying, oh, keep treating your parents well. So even as for myself, as a monk, and I'm renouncing my family and close loved ones and friends, it's a cult will say get away from them or kind of isolate you from your family and friends. However, it's that would be a denouncing rather than a renouncing. Renouncing means that the world that we know it here is going to make us be happy forever. That is going to end our suffering. And even in the afterlife, it will end our suffering. The idea of what we have in our family and even what we will have in the afterlife is going to end our suffering. And there we have it. When we renounce, we say that this maybe it's not going to be. Maybe there's something else that can. There's still some lingering suffering, so it has to end somehow. So denouncing says that I no longer want to be with family. Like it's almost a very much hatred to the family when you denounce them. I mean, I don't even recognize you as part of my family, meaning that there's hatred towards them. There's actually ill will towards them when you denounce rather than renounce. So in renunciation or renunciation of family and close relatives or the world, we still need them. In the Buddhist teachings, we still need them. We're not using them just to get our means, but we need them so that we can help lift them too, because they have their duties that they have to do, and I give Dharma back. So I have to give back. It's not like I'm just using them and that's it. And it's like, oh, thanks for it. And okay, thanks for the food, thanks for clothing, thanks for whatever, thanks for the shelter, thanks for everything else. But I'm going to leave you behind because I'm going to go into Nibbana and good luck to you. Unfortunately, that is denounce. Renunciation says, no, I still need to bring you to. Okay, but let me do my work first so I can get and suffering. I know how to do it, and let me help you along the way. So, so that's the difference in denunciation or denouncing and renunciation. And the Buddha did praise family, and even in the Paritta of the Maṅgala Sutta, which I chanted just not too long ago, the Maṅgala Sutta had one of the verses, Mata Pitu Upatanang Uttatara Sasankaho Anakara Chakamata Etamang Kalamutamang, which means uh, honoring your parents, honoring your mother and your father, being not leaving any work behind, making sure your family's well supported. That is the highest blessing. So he just says how much of a blessing it is to take care and be with family. Do not denounce them. So, so, um, and also in Buddhism, falling apart from the idea of the cult now is really breaking apart, is that we don't have a central figurehead. The Buddha was the central figurehead while he was alive. But once he went to Parinibbana, he said that the central figurehead is going to be the triple gem, remembrance of the Buddha, his teachings. The teachings itself, the Vinaya for the monks, or the monastic code, and even the Dhamma Vinaya of the laity, which would be the 5 precepts. That would be the Dhamma. And then the Saṅgha is the people who practice, the community of monks, firstly. But then if there's a big group, then there would be community of monks and lay people and nuns who are together practicing towards the same goal, which is the ending of suffering. So Saṅgha of monks and nuns are to follow those rules set by the Buddha, which were peer-reviewed by 501 arahants shortly after the Buddha passed away to parinibbana. So we have documentation of what we should be following. So everything was in the Pali Canon of the Tipitaka. So going back to the original stanza that was just mentioned about not believing in reference or inference, and not believing in a teacher, or not believing in just the idea that this person looks like they're very competent. So it looks like extreme skepticism, and he's promoting skepticism. But is he? All right. So he says, don't go by transmission, oral transmission. Don't think this ascetic is our teacher. It sounds like it. So why is it not? Why is it not extreme skepticism? And it's because the Buddha has us investigate. So this is why we practice with our meditation. We practice meditating to investigate how our mind thinks. Oh, it looks like uh, the cameras might have died out. The other cameras died out on me. Okay, let's go. I was going to switch over to another camera view. It didn't work. Investigate how our mind thinks, because our mind is going to cause us to make more action, more karma. And that's going to be the cause of our suffering. So when we know for ourselves, this is really what he wants us to do. When you investigate, you're going to know for yourself exactly what it is. You're not just going to go by any inferences and just say, oh, you know what, this is it, because of logical thought, and then say that's the truth. It might give it to you, but just keep testing, just like how science is with when we have science, you have a hypothesis and you keep testing it out. It becomes a theory, and after it becomes a theory and theory to the point where it becomes a law or something that can't be refuted. So that's when you really know for yourself for sure that it is true. So so these things are when you know for yourselves. So he says that these things are unskillful. He explains it even further. When you know for yourselves, so he completes the whole stanza there. So right after he says, don't believe, he says, know for yourselves these things that are unskillful, blameworthy, criticized by sensible people. When you undertake them, they lead to harm and suffering. Then you should give them up. So that's how you know when to give it up, and the opposite, the clear opposite. If you know that it's going to be good for you, then you undertake it. So again, that's like the 5 precepts. See for yourself, test it out, see how it is. See where the 3 kilesas, where they come up. Is it good for you? At least blameworthy. And if it's blameworthy and it's not good for others and for yourself, then give it up. So that's really what he's saying. See for yourself, test it out. So it doesn't mean just don't trust anybody or don't trust these teachings itself, but see for yourself. He really wants people to test it out themselves. So our duty is to observe our teachers, not to commit 100% to our teachers, and leave just a little bit to our. If we leave just a little bit for just in case, because we may be let down. Maybe something goes wrong, and we didn't understand properly, and then we just have this hatred goes on later on, and then there's a full denunciation, not a renunciation, but a denouncing. And I've seen this before, where somebody was from a certain faith, they leave it because they felt like they were betrayed by it, and then after they leave it, they start really bad mouthing it. And the Buddha actually says to, when you convert, if somebody's going to convert, to not disrespect the previous teachers, to not disrespect them because they brought you up so far. There were some good teachings up so far. So before they converted to the Buddha's teachings, that he made sure that he told them, do not just abandon them and do not disrespect them. So again, everything's about respecting. It's still holding on to previous things that were still good, still hold on to it and use it. But if it's not good, then leave it and abandon it. Okay? So that is why Buddhism would actually not be considered a cult, because it actually gives us our individuality. It does not actually try to pull you away from our loved ones. It actually wants you to stay with your loved ones. And here, as I am a monk, I have direct access to my family. I still have to talk to them. Anybody else, if I need something, I cannot tell them directly. If I need something, let's say I don't need it now, but I'm just saying, example, if I need, let's say, uh, a bandage because I have on my arm or whatever it may be, I can't tell them. If they see it themselves, they can get me the bandage. But I can tell my family if I see them. So again, if somebody who is of a different religion was, say, converted, he still had to have access to his family. He was not to abandon his family. There was still to talk to them and make sure that, if anything went wrong, then yeah, he would disrobe and go back to them. So that's why it did not take away person's individuality, did not take away from the family, and it definitely went against the grain of what was established or was not truly defined as a cult. So what the Buddha asked is for the laity. Laity, threefold practice of generosity, moral ethics, and mental cultivation. And for the monks, we don't have things to give because we accept them and we become conduits of good merit. But what we as monks need to do, the Buddha wants us to do, is work on our moral ethics, uh, and then work on our concentration and meditation, and lastly, with our wisdom, pass it back on to the laity. So that is uh, what we are asked to do. And for both laity and monastics, the reason for this, the reason the Buddhist sasana is for us to see suffering. Where did it come from? To notice that it does end, and then figure out how to do it. Following the rules, not following the path, not rules, but it's following the pathway that he's set forth for us to try. So that's the four noble truths, which is suffering exists. It came from somewhere, which is typically said as craving, and that there is an end to it, and this happiness comes from it. It's the opposite. And true happiness, or nibbana, how do you get there? How do you get to this complete stilling of suffering? Is by this eightfold path that he laid out to try out. and see how it works there. It's set in a good way. We do have to keep practicing. It's difficult, but it's possible. So that is today's Dhamma about um, us not being a cult. Buddhism is not a cult because we want you to be free. We're not going to try to chain you, not try to love bomb you and say, hey, you're pulled in and you have to stay with us. No, no, no. We don't try to do anything like that. Basically, we want you to be free. We want you to be completely liberated, and that there is no cult leader, and there is no central head. It is just the triple gem is who we follow by, and may this understanding of what Buddha Sasana really wants us to do, may this make you happy, may this also make you be well, and may it make you attain liberation from samsara. So we do have our meditators here. However, for some reason, they I'll have to go this way. Okay. Okay. About that time. So let's put the Buddhist teachings to the test. So when you're in samsara, keeps us asleep, and to be awakened, well, we must stay awake. So we're going to focus on the past few weeks. We've focused on the four bases of mindfulness, but this week we're going to go back to our basics, focusing on the breath. Let's master this. This is an opportunity to master our breath work and find joy in breathing, and see if we can understand suffering and notice that there is suffering. So we're not going to try to go to sleep. We're going to be sitting on a chair or on the floor comfortably, having your back straight as best as possible, your neck straight as well, chin slightly tucked in. Your hand should be where the right is over the left, and your thumbs are slightly touching. The reason for this is because if you're falling asleep, your hands will drop. They'll fall apart, your thumbs will fall off, and they may curl over each other, or they separate, and your back might slouch. So you want to be fully aware of this body during breath in and out. So take a moment to really get to understand your body, so you understand what it's like to be happy while breathing in and out, being aware of your breathing in and out. Now that you've taken some time to adjust your body, you may start breathing in and being aware of it. Let's take some deep breaths. One more deep breath. Very good. So now you're going back to your normal breath. When you're breathing in and you're breathing out, you're being fully aware of the quality of this breath all over your body, but you can just focus on one area. Let's focus on our nose. The air comes in and it comes out. And the quality of it is whether it's a long breath in and a long breath out. And you can even test to see if you can detect that long breath in. Is it just at the nose? How does it travel through the body? You can look at it. you have that ability to change it up if you're losing focus. You want to focus on the area that we said, which was the breath, but at the nose. You notice your mind is already racing and thinking of all kinds of things, trying to think of how it moves throughout your body. So your focus is supposed to be the nose, so bring it back to the nose. And when it comes out, you're aware of the out breath. And you notice that when you're in a relaxed state, your body might droop a little bit. The posture changes. So your breath changes too. So there's an awareness, heightened awareness of how the breath works with the body. So you can change your body a little bit and notice how your breath changes too. So depending on what we've been exposed to prior to this meditation session, it influences the way we breathe. This is a result of karma. And because of its influence, if we don't understand how it started, why we crave to keep fulfilling that influence from before, there's suffering that comes with it. Your mind is agitated, thinking about that, thinking about a present, thinking about the future, not the present, thinking about the past, not the present, making up stories, combining things from the past to make a future. Your mind is not calm, but that's fine. You want to bring it back to breathing. Bring it back to where it was. It's peaceful here. The more you realize that it was peaceful when you bring it back to concentration, the more you get to see that all these things that come up in your mind, that stimulate you through your eyes, your ears, your nose, tongue, trying to make up stories. It's irritating. Because it's irritating, it's like suffering. And you get to see that it is. So go back to your concentration again. Bring it back to breathing in and out. You can use the mantra Buddho, or you can bring counting. If you really are ambitious, breathing in, breathing out. You notice that already in a few seconds of silence, of not me talking, your mind was already thinking, and you might have felt some frustration. Your mind is not quiet. And you let that go. It's irritation. It's a form of anger towards yourself. You let that go. Bring it back to concentration again. and be at peace with the fact that you realize that there was a lapse in concentration, a lapse in mindfulness, as we start daydreaming and combining thoughts from the past with some ideas of the future, coming with stories on how you want to see it and how you want to change it. And if you have to switch, and be mindful of the switch, changing your body position, being aware of what body's part is moving to the position. And once you've just settled, go back to your breath. The good thing about mindfulness is that it helps you remember. Is the word sati. Mindfulness entails recollection. So you do have to recall the teaching. You have to recall what you set forth, which was being mindful of your breath. So if you forgot, then bring it back to what you originally decided on. And we decided on our breath, go bring it back. Even if it's quiet and you feel calm, and you're not calling out this in-breath or out-breath, or you're not calling out the number, you're seeing the quality of it, of the breath. Like, oh, this is a cold breath in and a hot breath out. And you lost track of that. You can actually say, maybe that's not mindfulness. Let's bring it back. Because your mind is already making stories up. Yes, it's analyzing. It's true. Bring it back to your breath again. There'll be a sense of joy when you get to notice that you actually are staying with your topic and not drifting. You're content with the topic and not drifting. This sense of joy that you're with the breath, the content that you're with it, allows you to see the quality of the breath, even as you call out the in-breath or out-breath. So even if you notice that your mind keeps coming back, even though you've let it go, you notice that the mind changed from the breath. The same topic might have come back. It's a bit irritating, but don't be mad about it. You can observe it. That's what it was. It's just a thought. It'll pass. Go back to your breath. There's no point in being irritated by this. It's normal for your mind to do this. It's searching for happiness, piecing together things that are impermanent from the past, piecing it together to make a future. And let it go. Let go of those things. Bring it back to your breath and find that peace and calm. And pay attention to your body as well. You notice that your body is drifting if it's low in energy. When you're awake, you're energetic. So this mindfulness arouses energy. So if you notice that your energy's slouching or your energy's being taken away, getting too calm and too peaceful, rouse up the energy, force your body to change so your breath changes with it, and notice that. If your hands were slipping away, your thumbs slipping away, be aware of it, and go back to your breath again, rouse that energy. So, as the reason why we have to cultivate this skill of being aware of our breath in and out and all the qualities involved with it. So when we come out of meditation, you can start seeing it in real time as you're doing other duties in the day. Going through about your day, how your brain thinks, how your mind thinks, how your body reacts to things. You get to see that. You notice what it's like to be calm, and you know what it's like to be irritated. A mind that is easily swayed by the senses of the ears, the eyes, the nose, the tongue, the skin, the body, and your mind. It's on fire. It wants more fire. That's the irritation. You're learning how to cool, calm down the mind. Once you're used to that, you'll notice that the fire was actually suffering. If you're thinking about when is it going to end? When is this session going to end? Just bear with it. That's your mind thinking. Let it go. Just thinking. And go back to your breathing again. We're going to be coming out of meditation soon. So we want to skillfully come out. Now that you're aware that your body is going to be set for coming out, each out breath, if your eyes were closed, slightly open it, let some light in. Wiggle your toes a little bit, get some blood flowing. The next out breath, squeeze your buttocks, move your fingers a little bit, be aware of your body, place and time. Open your eyes slightly more. This last out breath, open your eyes, maybe massage your knees and your legs a little bit. Just get the blood flowing back to your body. Look around if you want to. Look around your surroundings, what's around you. Take it in. You earned it. That is your time. You earned your own time. You did not give it away to the sense pleasures. You were not taken by it. So this was your time. You earned it. You got to be aware with it. You're one with the present moment. So very good. Let's now do our walking meditation for those that are tuned in. We do have quite a few that are tuned in today. Take your time getting up. Don't rush. Get the blood flowing a little. Good evening. How are you? Good. Let's do the long walk, short walk. Yeah, on there. Yeah, let's do the long walk. Okay. Um, so the in-house meditators, I'm gonna allow for you to decide whatever you do, and you can use your meditation technique that you want. I'm gonna be guiding those online. We're gonna be focusing in on the muscles. So we're gonna call out the muscles. So I'm going to be showing them online how to go about with a walking meditation. So you can start ahead if you'd like to. Start your walking meditation. I'm going to show online at first and then start joining with the rest of the group. So start with your walking. For us, tune in online. Anybody who's not done walking meditation, what you want to do is you're standing looking across the room. You get to see where you want to walk towards. Your hands are close to your body. I like to keep mine up front, close to the navel. Sometimes I keep it near my chest and hold it near here. So that way my posture is straightened up. Or I may have my hands behind my back. Sometimes you can keep it by your side. Don't swing it around. You're not walking in that manner. You're walking deliberately to be aware of the body. We're going to be observing our muscles. Next, as you've determined where you're going to walk, looking down about 3 feet in front of you, 3 to 4 feet, you're going to start your walking. We're going to walk with our right foot starting. So as we lift up our feet, as we place it down, heel to toe, or if you want, you can do toe flat foot. As your left foot is coming up, same thing, place it down. You don't want to go so slow that you start losing balance, and you don't want to go so fast that you're not even aware of what foot is moving. So at first, we want to call out the steps: right foot stepping, left foot stepping. And when we get to the end of the room, right foot stepping, stop, left foot stepping, stop. And you want to turn 90 degrees. Turn, right foot turn, left foot turn, right foot turn, left foot turn. You should be facing the wall you were standing against, and you walk towards that again. So starting all over again. Right foot stepping, left foot stepping. And you don't want to call it out too soon. Right foot stepping, left foot stepping. You want to call it right when you do it. You don't want to call it out too soon. You want to call after. And if you did happen to do that, that's fine. You lapsed in mindfulness, which is fine. And we're going to be paying attention to our steps for a few minutes, and then we're going to start focusing in on our muscles. So let us start continuing with our stepping. Be aware what foot is stepping, which foot lands. All you want to do is stay with your step, just like you were with your breath. Right foot stepping, left foot stepping. Be aware with it. We'll be observing our muscles very shortly. I want you to continue your meditation because you just transitioned from sitting to walking. So we want to continue the meditation that we just had and not lose that. Very good. It's time for observation of your muscles. We're going to start with the feet, near the feet. We're going to start with the calf muscle. So call it out as you feel it. Observe it contracting, calves, calves. As you come up, your quadriceps. Those are the front ones near your knee. You can feel the quadriceps as it's contracting to support your weight. Hamstrings, the muscles in the back of your leg. As you pull your leg up off the ground and your heel comes up behind you, deliberately, if you have to, feel the muscle contract. The buttocks, you can feel it as it is moving with each step, how the muscles, gluteus maximus or minimus, you're feeling it as it contracts to support the weight and even try to align your back. Lower back muscles, feel it as you walk. Notice how it feels. Notice the sensation of your lower back muscles as you're walking, as it's containing your core to be balanced, straightened. Upper back muscles. How's your posture while walking? Are you walking with droopy back? Are your shoulders rounded forward? Are they pulled back slightly? Trapezius, those are your neck muscles on the back of your, near your neck, the back of your neck, supporting your head. Feel the muscles there. Do you have tension there? As you're walking, can you walk relax? Can you relax that muscle? See how it feels as you're walking. You're being aware of these muscles because they actually affect the way you walk. You're going to go to the top of the head, moving up to your forehead. There are muscles at the forehead. Are you walking with a frown? Is it relaxed? Are you scrunching your eyebrows? Should be relaxed. Be aware of this as you're walking. Cheek muscles, even your jaw muscle, the mandible. I think it's a maxillary muscle. Are you biting down, chomping down on your bite? Okay. Continuing down again, the front of your neck muscles, the sternocleidomastoid, sternoclavicle muscle. That's the muscles near the front that surrounds or envelopes your trachea or your breathing tube, your windpipe. Those two muscles there, do they feel like they're stressed? Are they relaxed? Is your neck nice and relaxed? Your chin slightly tucked down? Sometimes our chin is pointed up as we walk, points up a lot because our trapezius muscles, the back of the neck muscles, are tight and the ones in the front are not. So it should be nice and relaxed for both sides, and your chin should be slightly down. Looking at your chest muscles near your shoulders. Feel the deltoids as you're walking. Normally you walk with your hands swaying. Now that you're walking slow and deliberate, maybe you notice that your shoulders sway left to right. Or how they're contracted in a way to hold up your arms, keep them by your side. Let's move down. Your pectoralis, as your pecs or your chest muscles. Are they also contracted, tightened? If they are, they're rounding your shoulders. Relax them a little bit so your shoulders can go back. You have a straighter back. Posture is now changed. You can observe how your body is, how it walks. So keep going. Look at our biceps and triceps. You can feel the contraction of these muscles just to keep your hands in place. You might even feel the burn of these muscles just to keep them in place. Let's keep going. The forearm muscles, forearms or brachius. As you're coming down, since it's near the center of your body, your abdominals. You have obliques, the abdomen, all those muscles there. Are they contracted? Are they keeping your core balanced? And this is all part of our posture and how we walk. We get to observe this. And how we walk affects the way we feel. And we're feeling content. If we're feeling rushed, if we're irritated, we get to feel that in the muscles. Very good. We start all over again. Start from the bottom. Your calf muscles, the ones in front of your shin as well. You get to notice them as they're walking. Going back up again. So this is a muscle scan, body scan. We can even stay with just one muscle. And if we stay with one muscle and observe it for what it is, you can see certain things, certain qualities of the Dhamma. It changes. It is inconstant. The more we want it to stay one certain way, it's just suffering. There are things out of our control. So it's not self, not worth holding on to. That's why we may lose balance. We want it a certain way. We age, the contraction strength is not there. All those things are part of that. But if you are still not content yet, where you're able to see those 3 marks, go back to the muscle scan. Scan the muscles again. And observe how your body works based on how you feel. If you're already having daydreaming thoughts of the past or the future, does it affect the way you walk? If you're enjoying the daydream, you walk slower. Maybe you're excited about that daydream, not just enjoying it, but you're excited about it. It makes you walk faster. Maybe something from the past comes up. You walk slower. And you can observe this. How do your muscles move? How does it move? How does it react when those thoughts come up? How are you doing at home? Are you staying with it? Or are you losing track again? Don't be upset about that. It's part of your mind. It is the way it works. Bring it back to the muscles. Scan the muscles. And if you're having a lot of trouble because your mind is thinking about the future and the past, making up stories as you're trying to observe the muscles, you can always go back to the basics. Observe your step. Did your brain walk the right foot stepping? Or did you walk with your left foot stepping? You keep observing that until you're content, and then bring it back to observation of your muscles. And it's okay to stay with one muscle type for a while. Just observe it. You can even play with it. Let's say you look at your hamstring. You're on the hamstring right now. Right leg hamstring, left leg hamstring, right leg hamstring, left leg hamstring. And you get to see it. So you keep calling it out for what it is. How does it move each step? Is it always the same? You'll notice that if you're taking smaller steps and your heel does not come up so high, your hamstring is not as engaged. And if you take more deliberate steps where your heel comes up higher, your hamstring is engaged. And you just enjoy that. What happens when you take a longer step? How does that hamstring use? What does it feel like when you contract the heel and when you extend it to take that step? This is how you can stay with one muscle for a while. And just look at that. See what it's like. Once you've exhausted that, move on to the next and scan your body again. Find an interesting muscle and observe it. When you're done with that, go on to the next muscle. Are you walking with your head up, or is it bent down, slouching? Don't feel bad. I'm known for slouching too. But if you walk with the back straight, it's good. It's good for your posture, they say. So again, this is your mindfulness, your awareness. Are you having a lot of back pain, neck pain? Maybe this might be the reason. So you can observe this. You can remedy it. It comes out. We're going to be coming out of our meditation soon. So take a few rounds for you at home. For us here at the temple, we're going to do our last round. We're going to go up towards the Buddha statues, and we're going to stand in unison, meditating, and after that, we'll do our final puja. For those at home, going back and forth, you're nearing the end, so find an opportunity to get to the wall that you were stared at and stand there. On standing meditation, observe your breath. If your eyes are open, your balance is probably better. Very good. We're going to be doing our puja. Arahang sama sambuddho bhagava Buddhang bhagavatang abhivatemi Swagato bhagavata Dhammo Dhammang namasami Sumadipano bhagavato sāvaka saṅgho Saṅghang namami. We actually had a lot of online practitioners, so let's congratulate each other here at temple and online. So sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Find the find the microphone, the other one. I know it's somewhere. There was a question that came up, and I'm gonna address that in a second. And I don't know if you had any questions that came up for today's practice at all. But if you have any questions, I'll leave this here for you. But I'm going to address one of the questions that came up. Okay. See if anybody online has any questions. I'm going to check that. I don't see anything yet. Okay. Okay. So one of the questions that we got was, how do I become a Buddhist? How do I become Buddhist? I think that kind of helped, it kind of fell in line with today's Dhamma about is Buddhism a cult? Um, so how to become a Buddhist? There's nothing special about just say, oh, there's no like ceremony to become Buddhist. It's typically if the one really truly wants to become Buddhist, we would say just you can take refuge in a triple gem and practice the 5 precepts. That would be the first step of becoming a Buddhist. Or saying that I am Buddhist, but there really is there's no nobody's really taking count that I'm actually Buddhist or anything like that. We're not really trying to get our numbers up like that or anything like that. You practice to the level of your content. Well, still in line too. If you can find a teacher that continues to allow you to grow spiritually, then that's great too. Or find a community that allows you to grow that way too. Um, Again, you're trying to really find the wisdom, continue practicing generosity and moral ethics, and try to cultivate your mind with meditation. Um, Now, I mean, the thing is, when if somebody wants to really delve in to become Buddhist, one of the things is if you're going into like a monastic order, if it is a male asking to be a Buddhist and in a monastic order as a monk, there's a lot of requirements required for that. To become a Buddhist, you actually have to have your parents' permission. They actually have to okay that you become a monk, that you're going to be in a monastic order. Otherwise, you can just be a layperson just practicing, and you say, I want to, be more in line with Buddhism. Then you would do the three, take on refuge, and uh, really, really try to uphold the 5 precepts. Otherwise, there's no pressure at all. And if you're really trying to get into the monastic order, we definitely want to ask to make sure that you're okay to do this, what you really want to do. The best thing for you to do as a male who wants to get into monastic order, let's say a female, you want to find another Buddhist tradition that allows for nuns. There are some that are there. For a female, if you want to be a nun, you got to find a place that actually fits you. So it's always good to be go to like a temple or so where they practice and see if you can, get to know them, practice align with them, uh, and even possibly live there for some time to see if it's something you want to do. You don't have to give up anything while you're there. And then if you really want to start plunging in, then you start the renunciation, start giving up, like say, your job or um, giving up your mode of transport, your financial obligations, give it to somebody else. Let them take care of it. So for me, I became a monastic, I gave up my 401k and all these things. I gave it to my beneficiaries, were my nephews and niece. I let them take care of that. So whatever happens, that it's theirs, not mine. I have no claim to it. Uh, so that would be the renunciation, where you can just let somebody else take it. That's the monastic order, and even the nunnery. If you're going into the nuns, then again, same subject there. Make sure your family is okay with it, um, and that you pretty much are kind of setting yourself up to give up these things to see if it's your fit. Otherwise, just see if you can practice there. Come along. So there are some temples that allow for people to stay overnight or longer and just retreat and see what it's like to be in there in that setting. Do you want to be in a setting that's you're by yourself a lot of times and you're secluded and you don't have to worry about work and family duties and all that stuff? Is this something that you like? Okay, then you can step it up. Otherwise, again, you can just go along, find a place, practice with them. You don't have to announce that you're a Buddhist at all. You're just practicing. That's the thing. There's no like, there's no need for somebody to say, "Oh, I'm Buddhist" or anything like that. No, it's just it is already seen within you if you truly are. It will show up because there are people who say, "I'm Buddhist," in name only, but their practice is far from it. So there's no need for somebody to say that I'm Buddhist. Okay, so if you're looking to be aligned and practice some Buddhism, it's good to find a place that does it. So find a temple, a local temple, see if it's your fit, see if it's the type of school that you like, if it's in the Theravada school, which we are, if it's in the Mahayana school, or if it's in the Vajrayana school. So either one of those schools of thought and practice of Buddhism, if it fits you, then I would suggest you stick with that and practice it. Otherwise, there's no announcement needed. There's no special thing at all. And again, the only special thing is if you're going to do refuge, most people they'd like to do it in front of a monastic, in front of the monastic order, saying I would like to take refuge in a triple gem, and I would like to uphold the 5 precepts. That is it. Okay, that answers that one. All right. Anybody online? I don't see anything. And let's see if anybody here.
Yes. Um, I've tried a couple times now at home to practice meditating on my own. And I'm struggling to kind of get in that same mindset that I am able to while undergoing a guided meditation. Other than like, my breathing and trying to be very mindful are the things you can recommend to like prepare and, you know,
Okay.
keep in that.
So when we're at home, we have a lot of things going on. Duties at home, job, whatever it is there. And there could be a level of anxiety of wanting to try to get what we had while we're in a controlled setting. Okay, so this is what the part of the suffering. So you're actually causing suffering for yourself. Yeah. So there's an anxiety level that's saying you want to perform to the level that you thought you had. This is one of the things that we say. Um, it's almost like chasing after what we call jhana. Okay, so you feel something really good when you're meditating in a controlled setting. You're with other people that guided something. A voice is telling you what to do, etc. And then when you're at home, you're really left to yourself. It's like, oh, can I do this? And that's the beauty of meditating because you can meditate anywhere. So you want to try that out. One of the things is really start forgiving yourself first. I would say is to set yourself up where you can actually forgive yourself. Like, oh, you know what? I have no expectations. Because the thing is, meditation is actually difficult, or in itself is very difficult. And many times people don't want to meditate. They would do anything else but meditate. That's why when you're in the setting like this, it's like, well, everybody's here doing it, might as well, right? So now you're at home, you got a lot of distractions, and it's like, well, I might as well do those things than meditate, right? So that's usually the things. It's stress on you already because of those things. So you have to forgive yourself at first. Say, you know what? My intention is this. Let's say I'm going to focus on the breath, or I'm going to focus on loving kindness, or whatever any of those techniques you want to do. If that's your focus there, also give yourself the added, whatever I get, I'm okay. So this in this, you're already setting yourself for forgiving yourself, but you also want to not be so lax. So not only are you going to forgive yourself, I'm say I'm really going to do this time block, and I really want it. Okay, so in that mindset, you're going to sit with it, and even if you can't get the block, let's say you say I'm setting a 20-minute block or a 15-minute block because that's all I can get right now is 15 minutes. I'm gonna give myself a 15-minute block, and I'm so agitated by all these things because I had work and people yelling at me and all these things here. It's just plagued my mind. Okay, and I can't even sit more than 2 minutes. All right, be patient with it. Just say I'm gonna sit through this. You know what? I know it's irritating, but I'm just gonna just fact that I'm sitting, I'll get through it. So one example I want to do is like when I was when I was working and I got laid off, I was looking for work. Um, I actually at first I wanted to enjoy being laid off and collecting unemployment, etc. And then I was like, I really like start working from home or whatever it is, just getting in the mood of getting back to work. So I'd actually dress up like I was going to work, even though I was not working. So I set myself up, even though I was not there. I didn't get a job yet or anything like that. And then the more you set yourself up, it will come along though. So a job just somehow found me because I was preparing. I had the mindset for it. So the same thing goes for you. You're gonna forgive yourself. Say, I'm gonna do this. Have the block here, and then set yourself for the 15 minutes or whatever, 10-minute block, whatever it is. And if you can't make it, I'm sitting here because I'm setting myself to know what it's like to be in a situation. Okay, you're sitting there. Okay, you were defeated. Okay, I forgive myself. I was defeated by the Khaleesas. All right, no big deal. But I'm sitting here. And so again, you're not, most people don't want to meditate. However, if you dress for success, right, you fake it to make it, you're basically faking the meditation to get through it. Okay. But when you're ready, when the time comes, there will be a time where it just breaks and you can say, okay, it becomes habit because you're really um, you're rewiring your mind to enjoy the meditation. The truth, it really is the truth. People just don't want to meditate. They would rather do anything else but meditate because we've been conditioned by the fire. Everything's been hitting us from all different angles. We love fire. We like getting the stimulation, and we're doing something different. It's cooling our mind down, cooling all that down, and this is all new, right? So it's going to be irritating. So that's what I would suggest is that you be okay with yourself, that you're not going to be possibly be able to get it, and just go through the time, and just sit through it if you can. And if you pick it up if you can, if not, then all right, I'm okay. Pick it up if you can, then not okay. But just go with the time block that you gave. Okay, so that's it. Anybody else have anything up here? I don't see anything. I'll wait a couple more minutes to see if anybody has any questions that came up. I'm gonna actually check the Facebook. It looks like I have a couple people on Facebook too, so I'm gonna check that too. So, Vikas, how's your practice been going? Yeah, you should. You are. You coming here a lot. Should be happy about that. You're doing a really good job. The fact that you're here again, this is auspicious. That's why we say Satu. We really are saying Satu because we got people doing this together. We got people online. We actually had 4 people online while we were meditating. So we're actually have a community right now. So we have 7 people right now, even though we're 3 here physically, but we got some more over online. Let's see. Facebook. Let's see if any questions came up online. Typically on Facebook, I don't get questions. Mostly it's like something like a sa too. That's it. But I don't see questions. Um, mostly sa too. I don't see any. I do not see any questions. Okay, and there were no questions that came up on the chat. So, okay, that's pretty much it there. So I want to give everybody a last blessing before we sign off, and for everybody here as well. So may all of you be happy. May all of you be well. May you find the eternal bliss in Nibbana. Sadhu. Okay.